Hi there everybody, it is of course that wonderful time of the week. It's the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time for another delightful and amazing tarot show. That's right, on this particular channel, on this video sharing website, what I do is I do tarot readings. Now you can request your own to appear in the next and up and coming show. It's quite simple, all you got to do is send me an email. Just go to, whichever email account you use and just send one to nickdutchtarot@gmail.com and it will appear in the rows and I'll be able to get through them all one at a time. Occasionally there's a bit of a backlog, but don't worry about that. If I can't tackle you on one show, I'll catch you on the next show as it comes through, okay? And that's basically all you need to do. Now, a tarot reading should be, explained to people as being an entertainment service, because that's what it is. It's what it's been for about like 500 years worth of recorded history here in the European regions, alright, at least 500 yees. Cartomancy's been going for God alone knows how long, okay, and all of these things, it's a form of mysticism, a form of religion or religiosity for some people. Yeah, by all means, you can see it that way if you want, but essentially it's more worthwhile seeing tarot as being a way for you to think about, your life problems in a different way. When people get on the phone with me for a live call via keen.com or live person or via kumar.co.uk for those of you who live in the United Kingdom itself, most of these people, they often use the call so they can just try and get some perspective on serious issues in life. Now, that's enough of that side of things sort of overdone and dusted. Now let's get on with the first reading of today. Here we go. Okay, Harrison S. You're going to university and you want to see how it's going to work out for yourselves. Bear with me a second. I have been shuffling like crazy, that's what I do. When you can't see my hands, what I'm doing is I'm shuffling the cards like a lunatic. Here we go. Right. Okay. Big time of responsibility. We've spoken about the Lover's card before. For those of you who've seen me do tarot readings, the Lover's card does speak about a great quantity of responsibility associated with massive change. It looks like it's all happening there for you. We got the Six of Swords coming in. It is an air or fire sign based upon planning, preparation, thought, contemplation, understanding, reason, logic. Okay, it's talking about trying to find things out, trying to get to the core of something and to plan for something bigger and better. So you've got more responsibility for the studies themselves, you've got academic signs talking about the studies themselves, you've got a change in your life, allowing the changes to occur for the future, and you're preparing for your longer term future, okay? Now what is it that the reading is saying is actually in your longer term future as a result of it all? Well, there you go. Very strong earth signs, solid, stable financial career. Your longer term future is going to come as a result of everything that you're learning, and even more importantly, and this is what I think is really coming through to me, the internal changes that you'll be going through as a result of going through so much in the way of study. Okay, you're not going to be doing it for fun. You'll have moments of pleasure. By all means, enjoy them. Okay, but remember, it's all a question of your intellectual internal change to bring yourself to the point whereby you can become even more of a well-rounded, strong and stable character. Just very finally, the last signs we had for this one particular spread there, good old-fashioned lust card talking about desire. The strain of the desire can be important, but it can also put too much stress upon you, so you may need to try and put that aspect of things aside and just try and do things in a structured, rational way. Otherwise, you'll just be trying to motivate yourself to the point whereby you'll burn yourself out. If you remove the extra motivation from the whole situation of your studies and you just focus in on having a nice structured life, you'll find it much easier to be able to cope. Okay, we've got a rather curious inquiry. This individual called Frank is struggling with getting on with people and getting by in the company of people. Okay, so this individual wants me to see whether there will come a time when social interaction will become better and easier and all the rest of it. Now, Frank is actually quite a wise individual and has pointed out that he's aware that these fears are irrational fears, but they are based upon real occurrences and real happenings. Now, this strikes me as something which could roughly overlap with a medical situation. If it is a medical situation, I wouldn't be allowed to read upon it. But as it's actually being expressed to me as an emotional situation, I could actually do a quick spread and see basically what's coming on through there. But never mind, carry on taking proper responsibility over this. And that means get yourself some proper full therapeutic counseling, okay? Behavioral, cognitive, psychodynamic, all the rest of that. And start building a therapeutic regime for yourself so that these fears, these irrational fears, which from the way in which you were communicating them to me via your private message, via your email, seem to be almost crippling by their nature. So, it's stopping you from interacting with people. It's become like a bit of a stumbling block. There's been errors in your socialization process. You're aware of that. You've told me about that, okay? You need to get yourself more in-depth help than that which I can provide. So I'll tell you what the reading says, by all means. But what I won't do is give you the full process. Speak to your doctor, speak to counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, all the rest of that. Some psychiatric help in the short term, that might even be a possibility. Now, I'm not a doctor, I can't prescribe these things for you. But it might be worthwhile looking into. Or at least finding the medical practitioners who can prescribe the right treatments for you. Also, as I'd recommend to anyone who's got any form of issue, if you do look at your diet, your nutrition, your sleep and your exercise, then you're more likely to be able to recover both your body and your brain with the passage of time. And if you remain sort of rather fastidious about looking after your body and your mind through diet, nutrition, sleep and exercise, then that's obviously going to help you rather a lot. So I would suggest that as part of your own personal therapeutic regime. I mean, it takes a lot of bravery to do these things, because your friends might say, well, why are you going to like the self-developmental section of the library or the bookshop when you could be like doing this or doing that? The bottom line is you're taking responsibility. Sure, it makes you a bit different to the average individual because of the way in which you're choosing to live. But you're choosing to live this way so you can get better and reach a time whereby you don't need the self-developmental section of the bookshop anymore, okay? Or at least that's the goal. I mean, in my case, I've had a few anxiety issues before, and I do tend to go back to sort of both religious texts as well as self-developmental things to try and help me out when I feel that I'm slipping slightly, okay? Because that happens, that's what it means to be a human, a proper human being, and to take responsibility over that can be really rather difficult. But I think that you're doing it, I think you will achieve it, and I don't sense too much in the way of negativity in the longer term. Let's have a look and see what the cards say. Now, you've heard me witter on for far too damn long. Right. An end to futility. People treating you in a slightly better way. The Hangman came through to me as a reversed card, so essentially the feeling that other people are seeing you negatively is going to start ebbing away. That's obviously very good. Your own innate wisdom is going to start coming to the fore. The Hierophant card does something to speak about extra wisdom and getting a certain level of mental clarity. It can also be something to aspire to. So when it comes out in an academic spread, it can also be a very good luck sign there in that particular respect, okay? But in this particular respect, the Hierophant or the High Priest card is talking about that level of mental clarity that you may actually be after and will wish to try and get further on down the line. What else have we got? Yeah, I suppose just signs of things being a bit of a struggle, but being able to do so, going through the struggle in a peaceful and objective manner, tackling the problems as they come one at a time. Okay, Lyric 604, I'd be very happy to do a reading on your love life, but typically speaking, I'd actually want you to give me a question. But what I'll do for you is just have a quick look, seeing as you haven't actually told me the name of an individual you wish me to focus in on or what the situation is. What I'll do is I'll look chronologically and I'll see basically what's coming through there. If you don't give me a proper question, I will have to read in a more general style manner. What I will not do is a total general reading for you, because essentially that's not what I do on this service, okay? But let's have a quick look and see what's coming through for you there. Okay, do we have any really, really good romantic signs? They're coming through in two different places in this one particular reading. They're coming through rather early in the short-term future, associated with a bit of a sense of conflict with someone who's not actually coming up with the goods. They're not behaving in the right way. Despite the fact they know there is a right way of behaving, they're not quite doing it, causing you a sense of frustration, making you think that maybe that individual, whoever they are, during the next I would say two to 3 months at the outside for this first juncture, might not quite be right for you. But you're going to try and keep that like almost like you're keeping it open, but you're not really you're not going to close the door on it completely, sort of thing. Okay. Then there's a period of basically looking after yourself, working out where you want to go and who you want to spend your time with, and making sure you do that with real, in a good and clear way. And then we have more in the way of passion signs coming further on down the line. Now, if you look at the earlier part of the reading, okay, you've got the Chariot card there, and you got the Eight of Cups there, which is talking about literally indolence. That feeling of they know what is the right thing to do, but they're just not going to go and do it. All right, that's where the problem lies. But the Chariot is speaking about conflict associated with them, so there's a bit of a fear and paranoia issue with that. Now, further on down the line, at the second part of the reading, we got the same kind of a message, but the other way around. instead of conflict-orientated colors, okay, with a sense of like depression or not all that happy. It's all red, it's all power, it's all passion, okay, and the main or principal character in the story there is you, in this particular case, being portrayed as the Queen of Wands, okay, strong, full of pride, dignity, defending what's right, knowing where you want to go, and also signs relating to satisfaction and happiness and joy in the sphere of love itself. So, same kind of message, different the other way around. Now, this can be interpreted in two different ways. Either there's this individual during the short-term future period, which is up to 3 months according to this reading. Okay, it's 3, 6, 9 months in this particular reading methodology. Who's one particular individual, he's not behaving too well, you have a break for a short period of time, he comes back into your life, then, hey presto, something good and passionate happens with the same individual. That's interpretation number one. Interpretation number two is you're trying to get rid of the deadwood in the short-term future. Alright? Then there's a period of looking after yourself and making sure you're proud of yourself, you're strong in yourself, and then guy number two comes along. Those are the only two possibilities I can see for this one particular reading. As far as another interpretation for your short-term future period, that could also be to do with contemplation about the past to work out where you have gone wrong. Because whenever we point the finger of accusation, there's always 3 fingers pointing back to us, okay? And that goes for, the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day Nick Dutch as well, okay? As well as yourself, as well as the people that you deal with. Remember that when you point the finger of accusation, you got 3 fingers pointing back to yourself. So it's also a time of contemplation, this short-term future period, so you can do what's right for the rest of your life to emerge. And that's something to take real responsibility over and real pride over. Okay, Simon, good to have you back. It's great to see you, submitting your message here on the Tarot Show. Okay, your question was quite involved. You're applying for a particular job. You've been to the second interview stage. You want me to tell you how it's going to work out in accordance with what the reading says. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, right, okay, now all I can do is tell you what I can see here. I can't really do anything else. And what I don't do, and for those of you out there who already know about me, okay, what I don't do is to turn around to you people and just give you a positive message all the time. I just don't do that. In your particular reading, we got signs relating to failure and unhappiness, and also a feeling of disappointment. Now, two signs, 2 separate tarot cards coming up there, and I think that's talking about your first stage and your second stage of the interview process. I don't think the company knows what they're talking about. I would even go so far as to say that your HR individual might be just going through a period of training and just using you as someone to train upon. So it's not feeling all that happy in that particular respect. The feeling I'm getting associated with your longer-term career, however, is actually very good. You're a very knowledge-driven individual anyway. You've got yourself some education, some of which is self-education, some of which is more formalized. That's very good and that's very positive. The feeling in the longer-term future is to be able to bring everything into balance and harmony. So you'll actually be happy, alright? Because your life is about generating happiness. Your longer-term future is not necessarily wealth-driven, but there's this feeling I'm getting, it's sort of like coming through to me, of something of an artistic or creative nature. No, it's not just artistic or creative, is it? It's something more specific. It's actual painting. You wanted to be a painter when you were young. Alright, that's what's really going on here. And all of the extra education that you did, what that's done is it's put you into completely the wrong situation. So you're ending up with dealing with individuals who are being defensive, and you're coming across obstacles left, right and centre. Basically what you need to do is you need to think back to what you wanted to be many years ago, and why you thought you wanted to be that, and to see whether you could return to that way of living. But not being too resentful over this, okay? Because essentially something else has happened in your life which has changed your life path to bring about all of these negativities you're currently experiencing. Alright, something has happened there. Don't be resentful about that. Because what you've got, which other people haven't got when moving into this like artistic paintings or like designing creative type of industry, is all of the experience which you've gained as a result of doing the next wrong thing. So you're going to enter into that field brighter, with more self-esteem, because you've been there, you've done it, you know it, you understand it. Okay, you'll have the life experience, and to be able to put all that life experience into something really, really big and positive. Okay. So Simon, let's do a separate, very quick reading to see where things are going to go through on the basis that things can work out long term. Okay. All right, that's good. Passion, responsibility, new way of life. Okay, you can do it. You can seriously do it without a shadow of a doubt. You know, I'm feeling good things about that. I'm seeing good signs about that. The sense of happiness coming through in your longer term future as well. So, yeah. I mean, the here and now, it's rubbish. It's terrible. You're being treated very, very, very badly. But for you and for everybody else out there, remember that key phrase. All right? In 5 years' time, will it really matter? Think about it. In 5 years' time, will it really matter? Okay, Karen J. I know that you're one of my customers via Keen.com. So it's wonderful to hear from you. Yes, of course, I'm very happy to do this reading for you via video. Because you've been a customer of mine since about 4 years now, haven't you? Yeah. Okay. So let's see what the reading says today about your relationship. Obviously, sorry you had to go through that divorce, but on the other hand, that was necessary. I remember the case quite well. Let's have a quick look and see what's coming through for you now. Okay, right. With this new individual that you're involved with, I'll very quickly show you the cards for this one, because I think that would really help. Alright, the longer term future is quite interesting too. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, signs on your side of the reading in the here and now. Strong, solid, stable, looking after yourself, focusing on your needs. This other individual that you've been connecting with looks like quite the right good quality of individual for yourself as well. And with excellent signs of love there between the two of you, coming out with the Two of Cups. That's tremendous. On your side of things, I just get this feeling that you're still suffering from some of the pain and some of the issues of the past, and that's still basically with you at the moment. So you've still got to try and not go through a period of blaming, but go through a period of trying to get more better reflection, better understanding of the good things you've got from the past, basically. Now, this individual that you're with, absolutely wonderful. This is a healing individual anyway, but you mustn't treat the person you're involved with in a relationship as being someone who is actually there to heal you. Because if you do that, things won't work out according to plan, alright? So you're going to have a change of attitude. I know you're still hurting on your side of the reading. I understand that. I know they're kind of like an empathic, sensitive, healing individual. You've mentioned their career and what they do, so yeah, that would actually fit in very nicely. But be careful of that. Now, progression, short-term, mid-term, long-term. Don't expect them to do all the hard work, okay? Don't expect them to do all the hard work. You've got some good energy there, but you need to do some communication too to try and help things to work out okay. But on the other hand, I also feel that you're dealing with someone who wants to take that empathic role because they've got their own needs. And that's part of where the problems in this particular connection actually lie. Fortune between the two of you is talking about a great quantity of love, yes. But unless you get this particular balance sorted out, you're going to have a crap relationship in every possible way. Right? If he's the person who's got this healing desire for you, okay, he gets a buzz from healing people. You've got a desire to be healed. You've got to decide whether you want a relationship with him or whether you want him to just be a therapist. Because you can't have both. There's a disharmony going on there, okay? And basically the result could actually be bad. Now, the Eight of Cups there, we've had that come out in the reading before. We know that it's not a good card. In fact, there's no such thing as an actual bad card, but it's not actually a very positive sign because it speaks about knowing what is right and not really being prepared to do it. If you're going to carry on with this attitude that he's there to heal you and to make you feel better, you're going to have a terrible relationship and you must move away from him. That is important. That is essential, okay? That is if you can't deal with the fact that you have the potential to make a real relationship occur here, and you do have that as well. So a time will come when you'll have to talk about his problems and your problems and what you need to do to try and resolve them. Then when your midterm future comes, then the stability can occur. This is all potential. Future is always potential. Remember that. Future is never actual. Future is always potential. The best aspects we've got as far as the future part of the reading is concerned is talking about stability, him taking a good quality leading role to a certain degree, taking into account the fact we're in the 21st century and the old-fashioned conservative attitudes about relationships are long gone. And also there's great quantities of loving abundance, including time together, rose-covered cottage, and all the rest of that cool stuff. That's the potential, but get over this stuff first, because if you do screw up with that, then basically you're not going to be happy in the long-term future at all. Alright, get that straight. Alright, do you want him as a relationship partner, or do you want him to be a doctor? Okay, Sonia J, you wanted me to read into your little relationship issue you've got with this person. Now, you haven't been talking all that much, and that's been part of the problems. Let's have a quick look and see basically what's coming on as far as the longer term future is concerned. Bear with me a second, please. Okay. Energy and the force between the two of you, well, there's some passion there. Yes, that's looking okay, so I'm not too worried about that side of things. But what else is happening on their side of the reading? They're ready to move on to that extra level. That sense of a bond is coming through there very strongly. Lover's card is coming out like crazy today, if you'd notice. Okay, there's a reason for that time of the year, maybe, because around about this time of the year, everyone's thinking about like settling down to the autumn. It's something basic and tribal about us. What we want to do is to make sure we're looking after everything and everyone who is close to us. And so when it comes to this time of the year, people get much closer. People find that intimacy is much more easy between Halloween and Candlemas for various reasons. And that's something to bear in mind when you're thinking about how you're managing and running your relationship in the longer term future without any doubt. The forces on your side of things, now this is what I regard as being interesting. You're very communication orientated. You're the kind of person who can talk and will talk and wants to carry on talking for a long period of time moving further forward into the future, okay? But things don't always work out quite according to plan, as you've told me, alright? Because that communication is just not quite coming through there, is it? Your progression is not looking too bad. Short-term future. Alright, short-term future, care, compassion, loving each other, spending time together, that's looking very nice. Moving further forward, blending your energy, trying to work out what you actually agree on, that's looking okay as well. But, trying to get to that level might still take a bit of time and a bit of effort. Alright, further on down the line, that's when things are looking okay. You've got a very slow developing relationship. Not because there's too many problems here, but it's just because that's the way it is at the moment. Alright? And I think you've still got some great potential there. Okay, Bob, you're running a small business and you want to make sure that you're going to be able to expand over the coming months. But you also mentioned to me there's a fair few financial problems on the way. Alright, let's have a quick look and see basically what the reading says. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, you need to change direction. You need to change direction quite big time. The reason you're having some kind of like financial problems at the moment is because you're not changing direction, you're not being flexible. The issues with that one particular member of staff that you mentioned to me in your private message is something which will have to be resolved. Okay, I can deal with that much better on a private call, just you and me. We can try and get that sorted out, and I'll try and explain to you what I mean when I say there's things which can be done. I've run a few small businesses before, and I've worked in a few of them, so I know basically what the system is, what the score is, and basically what you should be doing when trying to think about the employment laws and what's actually right there moving further forward into the future. Okay, more signs relating to some struggle but with some victory. You're going to be clawing yourself back there. These change signs, when you actually put that into action, will actually bring forward the prophecy to do with the earth signs, okay, which means of course money coming in. We always want to think to ourselves, right, that money isn't the be all and end all of everything. So it becomes difficult when we actually move into business. We have to think about money in a different way, because we need to be able to keep the roof over our heads, keep the business rates paid, carry on buying the stock, carry on dealing with our staff and paying our salaries and all the rest of that. Okay, so we have to start seeing the whole concept in a completely different way and revolutionizing the perspective that we have about these things. So that's one of the things you need to think about, your own motivations and how you can change that. But in the longer term future, yeah, happiness associated with your business will actually be okay. Okay, we have a lady who identifies herself as Moon. Okay, M-O-O-N. I've had a fair few people who have identified themselves as being Moon. It's not necessarily you, okay, it's another Moon, okay, who's actually made this one particular inquiry. But she wants to see whether I think that, you know, that she's got what it takes to actually be a psychic and to work in the industry. Let's have a quick look. Okay, actually looking not too bad at all. Signs relating in that particular case, in that particular instance, for contemplation, with a very peaceful, sort of like trying to get on with people kind of atmosphere coming through there as well. All looking rather watery and airy orientated, okay, but also a bit more in the way of passion, pride and determination, so you've got the desire to overcome obstacles and to try and make something actually occur really rather good for yourself. Again, same significator we've had coming out before. Now, in terms of an empathic reading, you might think the signs which are much more passionate orientated would not necessarily be geared to, you know, to what we're trying to achieve here, as far as, you know, is this person really truly a psychic? But, you know, I don't think that we've got too much in the way of negativity associated with this. Some people can be a psychic who receive, some people can be a psychic who transmits. And some people can be a person who's got a bit of a combination of different energies associated with them, okay? And they all work in different ways. What you're going to need to do, Mrs. Moon, okay, is to try and focus in on looking after yourself, alright, in terms of your understanding as to what you're about, what you can achieve, what you can't achieve, the kind of people you want to be able to deal with, the kind of problems you want to be able to address, and how you want to be able to help people, to try and come to an understanding as to what your own sole purpose is. Okay? Alright. That's the last reading of today. If you want your own reading to appear in the tarot show, send it through via email to nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. That's nickdutchtarot@gmail.com. And I'll be more than happy to add you to the rota. We've got Halloween coming up, we've got Christmas and New Year coming up, we've got Thanksgiving coming up for those of you who live over the water to myself, okay? So, you know, get your inquiries coming in for those times of the year. Also start thinking about your New Year's readings as well, because I'd like to do a bit of a series on that so that we can try and get everyone's New Year's readings done and dusted as well. Alright? Looking forward to speaking to all of you again very soon. God